I saw a poster that said like William Shatner was coming to Pittsburgh. So as the date got closer, I was like kind of hoping, but I didn't expect Shatner to get up there and sing. But I was kind of hoping like this might be my only opportunity to kind of be in the same room, breathe the same air as Shatner. And, he's going to,
He's 93.
93. Yeah. And
that's impressive to be like doing a tour like this.
Pretty impressive.
Whatever fucking like fountain of youth he's drinking from.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know what I'm going to see when I get here. Because it is like, the guy's getting up there. And with Shatner, he's like around the same age of like Stan Lee and stuff like that. So it's like, is it going to be super depressing? Is it going to be like, is it going to even be like recognizable as Shatner? But no, when he came out,
oh my God,
it was like he hadn't missed a beat. Like he was full of energy. He had that delivery. He was quick on his feet. He was witty. He was up and down. He was walking across the stage. Yeah, he's never gonna be like the Shatner from like the Star Trek TV show. Like that guy's long gone. And he's not going to be like the middle-aged Shatner from like the 70s and the early 80s and stuff. But from like the 90s onward, it's the same guy.
That's
he's
awesome.
The same guy.
That's so amazing. Like, how was the hair?
The hair was, it was exquisite. Yeah, it was. Well,
oh my!
It was kind of like a bathing cap, but furry. Because again, you got to see him in 360.
Wow! Did he have the Kirk pointed sideburns, or was he? Did he?
That's a great question. I didn't note those.
Did he start? Did he do any songs?
He didn't. I was hoping for that, but there were no songs. You know what? I think like he does have a good sense of humor about himself. Like he does, like at least publicly, like he doesn't take himself seriously when he's up there talking and stuff. He kind of makes jokes at his own expense and stuff. But I don't think he understands himself the way we understand. Like he doesn't understand the things that make him funny. I think it's just like, he'll go on like a show or something, and then the writers and stuff know like, oh yeah, you have him do this and reference that, and then he reads he comes out, reads the lines, does them to perfection, but like he doesn't know. Like,
he doesn't know what he
doesn't know that we want to hear rock it, man. Like he doesn't know that, and he doesn't know that like, oh, is that a tribble on your head? Like he doesn't know about any of this stuff. Or at least he's not letting on if he does.
That's so fucking hilarious. He's on this billboard for I think it might be like this NASA or something, or like the ad council. It's like, I was gonna take a picture of it and send it to you.
Yeah.
It says like to boldly go, and he's like on this billboard. I was like, God, I gotta get this is before I knew he was coming to town. I was gonna send you this.
Yeah, because we've been in such like a Star Trek phase, like with the show, and then like me personally, like I've been really like
going through Trouble with Tribbles.
Yeah, Trouble with Tribbles. I've been watching a bunch of other episodes and stuff. Yeah, and
is that a tribble on your head?
Yeah, that was one of the questions. Was like, what's your favorite Star Trek episode? And he said he's never watched Star Trek. Like he said the only Star Trek episodes he's watched are like the only Star Trek he's watched are the ones he directed. So I don't know. I guess he directed a couple episodes or something, yeah. Or is he just? Or is he talking about the Final Frontier?
Oh my God, Star Trek 5. You got to think that the guy that's 93 still out there on stage hasn't watched Star Trek.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah. Again, you can't take anything he says at face value. But I was kind of thinking like, well, like if that's true, like you really need to check it out. Like it's good, and he said it's like just that actor thing of like being uncomfortable seeing yourself, like it makes him cringe or whatever. But it's far enough in the past that like, can't you kind of just look at that almost as somebody else? It's like so far in the rearview mirror,
Oh my, he's like,
yeah,
Sulu.
Well, there's a couple of things about that, because like, yeah, so they asked him his favorite episode. He didn't have a favorite episode. Like he couldn't tell one from the other, and that was a little disappointing. But again, maybe
that's saddening.
Yeah, maybe that's I don't know.
It is interesting too that he doesn't have a favorite. Like I'd be like, what the heck? Yeah,
or yeah, but like his appearance, like his stage show, where it was basically like he's telling like funny anecdotes and stuff, and there's a little bit of like a Q&A and stuff, but and then he tells you about his experience in space and stuff. Like, yeah, he was charming, funny. Again, you're just happy to see him.
Oh my
You're
God.
just like glad to see him. But it begins the evening begins with a screening of The Wrath of Khan.
Oh my God.
So that was kind of like, it's like, well, yeah, I could go for seeing The Wrath of Khan, and then get to see Shatner afterwards. Like, why not? And it played really well, but it was great because, again, it's like a hot crowd, and so then the credits come in, and like people are cheering, and then like his name comes up, people are cheering, and then Leonard Nimoy's name comes up, people are cheering and stuff. Like, and so various people they're getting cheers and stuff, and then George Takei's name comes up, and everybody loses it. Like, the cheers are huge.
Yes.
That cheering huge. And I started cracking up because I was imagining Shatner backstage.
He destroys the green room.
Like sizzle, like his wig's like bubbling. The glue that holds it on is like bubbling.
They're like somebody threw a Permani sandwich through a mirror in the green room.
But again, I was also aware that like that's kind of an illusion. Like the idea that like people are cheering and like he's hearing it backstage. Like, it's The Wrath of Khan. Like, Shatner's still on the road. Like, he hasn't gotten to the venue yet. He's still driving. He's not anywhere near.
He's up in the balcony.
But I was cracking up at like the illusion of the
he's gotta be
like if he is.
Yeah, like they're like Shatner's refusing to come out of his trailer until he gets a louder applause.
Yeah, we're there for him, but I mean, George Takei's had an amazing third act, and he is just like beloved. And I also do wonder because like all those appearances on Howard Stern, where like there'd be like a back where George Takei would be like criticizing him and stuff. It was an interesting arc, but it's like it started in the 90s, and then I feel like it's kind of been a while. Like the last one I heard was probably like 10 years ago or something.
Oh,
you know what I mean? So I don't know where they're at now. They're like the last men standing from the original Star Trek. Like I don't think there's any other actor from the original show that's still around.
James Doohan gets the loudest applause.
Right, yeah, he did get. I mean, everybody got their share. They did, but then when they got into the technical stuff, like when the director's name came up and stuff, I cheered, but it wasn't the designer of like the whatever like that. Yeah, exactly. Like, so much of what you like in this movie is just that sort of visual world, and you're not going to give it up for this.
ILM, I think. I'd be like, yeah.
So I do wonder if, like, at this advanced age, I mean, I mean, George Takei might be in his 90s too. I'm not sure the age difference, but I'm assuming like maybe they've had some like a ceasefire, like maybe they've had some like cooling of tension that maybe they're past that. Maybe that thing isn't going on anymore.
I just hope when I'm 93, like I could have the energy to like do something like he's doing.
Well,
like,
you know what? The energy to have a vendetta, like that might be what's keeping them alive for so long. They have this sort of slideshow as you're like waiting for, waiting for the movie to start, and a bunch of like trivia questions are kind of in the mix and stuff. And the trivia questions were fun, but there was one trivia question. It was a true or false question, and it was, in The Wrath of Khan, does Ricardo Montalban wear a fake chest?
I'm gonna say yes.
I said false, and I was right.
You're right.
That's ridiculous. But he does have this like very like pronounced and like he has that scoop neck with like his chest showing. But I think Shatner wrote that question. I think he put that in because I think it was to divert attention from his fake hair. Like, he's wearing fake hair. Imagine the question, is William Shatner wearing fake hair in Wrath of Khan?
Don't look over here, look over there.
Right, exactly. And yes, the answer is false, but I feel like it plants enough of a thought in people's heads and maybe you don't stick around to see the answer. Maybe you just see and you go around the rest of your life thinking Ricardo Montalban is wearing a fake chest. And again, and I think like Shatner's jealousy that like I don't think Shatner would have looked as good with the same costume. So and like I think just jealousy of like how in shape Ricardo Montalban was in that role. So like I was just thinking if Shatner like wrote this question just to like just for his own petty reasons.
There's like who has bigger biceps in the movie.
It does seem like there's an agenda going on. And then the other thing, because when I was telling my wife about this event and stuff, and I told her like, oh yeah, they're showing like Wrath of Khan and stuff, and she's like, oh, he directed that. And I'm like, oh no, and I started laughing because I'm like, no, he directed Star Trek V, which is like acknowledged as like a bomb. We love it. But I think that would have been so audacious if it was like, we're going to begin the evening with a screening of Star Trek V.
That would be dude. What if he was touring around not with Wrath of Khan with Star Trek V?
Yeah, because like,
that would have been.
Why not?
Yes.
Why not? Like that's your movie. And again, all the reasons we like love him and why he's so funny and stuff, like they don't like he doesn't get it. So like he doesn't like. I think Star Trek V would like play so well.
Wow. I would love to see it on a huge screen with a crowd. That would be awesome.
Yeah, I did once, and and again, I didn't. The first Star Trek movie I ever saw in the theater was The Search for Spock, and I loved it. I thought it was great. And again, we still like that. We did an episode about it.
Love it.
And then I saw Star Trek V, and I loved it. Thought it was great. Saw that in the theater. So it was only like afterwards that I started hearing that like, oh, this isn't one of the good ones.
Like. There's something with that chest scenario because I always thought it was real, and then I heard somewhere that they're like out there, like from a source or something that like they're like, oh, do you know Khan had a fake chest?
Well, who started that rumor?
And it was Shatner. It was Shatner. I fell for it because I was like, I always thought it was real. So
that rumor got started from a trivia question. Like that's for as long as like probably ever since that movie, when Shatner would do like a Q&A at like a Star Trek convention or a comics convention or something, that was probably one of the.
How are you Ricardo Montalban and not like getting? But he's like I spent months in the gym getting my chest, my pecs beefed up for this, and undercut by Shatner.
And hilarious. Like he had a bunch of anecdotes, and they were really funny. But like a lot of the anecdotes were like these awful practical jokes that he played on Leonard Nimoy and DeForest Kelley, especially. Like I feel like again, like he has to show them who's boss. So like his pranks, because he feels that Nimoy is like maybe his equal or only slightly below him, his pranks against Nimoy are like a little gentler. But then he sees DeForest Kelley as like, like a good, way below. So like his pranks against DeForest Kelley are like the worst.
Anytime I hear someone's a practical joker, like that's never good.
Right.
Like dropping a bucket of water on the door, like the classic. I have always wanted to try like balancing the bucket of water, or I don't know. He like has a joy buzzer and he gets.
The Joker. Like how much fun is it to hang out with the Joker?
Trivia. He's like, did you know that Leonard Nimoy was late to set 90% of the time? Yeah. Here's some trivia. He's like, James Doohan had trouble remembering.
James Doohan had incontinence.
How many days was James Doohan incontinent on the set of Search for Spock? Answer. It's like 7 weeks of a 12-week shoot.
When I was a kid, it's like, you watch Star Trek and it's like, oh my God, he's so great. And then there reached a point where it was like every comedian, it was like Shatner was the go-to thing. Because he was like, it was like, oh, he's pompous, he's a ham, He's a bad actor. He overacts. He's one note. He's washed up. He's like way out of shape. He's out of shape even in the 60s. You know, he can barely lift his leg, and he's doing this kung fu. Like, all the cool stuff is the stunt double and stuff. So that was like, that was, you know, and everybody would do their imitation. So that was like every comedian. So I did start to internalize that a little bit. But it's like, the things you can say about Shatner, maybe that, yeah, he's, you know, like, you know, whatever, like in real life, but he's amazing as an actor, in my opinion. And even like George Takei, when he would talk about all this like stuff that Shatner did backstage or whatever, that, you know, that he had a problem with, you know, Howard Stern would be like, oh yeah, and you know, isn't he such a shitty actor and stuff like that, and George Takei would always stop him and say, no, he's a phenomenal actor. This has like nothing to do with his acting. I think he is phenomenal. And he's got, to me, he's the Elvis of television. Unique delivery that is like, you know, you can't take your eyes off. You know, those like early Twilight Zone episodes, and then, you know, the original Star Trek series, you're just kind of like pulled in to his orbit, but it is very stylized. It is a very odd. It's very, you know, fun to make fun of or to imitate or to copy. It's made for parody and you know, a million impressions and stuff. You know, kind of like Elvis, and also like Elvis, you can copy him, but you can't imitate him. Like if anybody else tried to do what he does as an actor, it just wouldn't work. It just wouldn't work. But like he owns it. He owns this realm, and you've seen plenty of Star Treks without Shatner. Oh yeah, and it is like as good as some of those are. It's like that's the real stuff.
It definitely is. Like watching him closely, he's in total control, and he makes such interesting choices. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like he's got something his own, new every time.
He's got his own cadence, you know, and again, it's a cadence that people make fun of, and a million stand-up comedians and stuff. Jim Carrey does a great one.
Oh god, there's another Kevin Pollak.
He's like considered the originator. Kevin Pollak is considered the originator of the Shatner imitation. Jim Carrey brought it to the masses. Like in Living Color Star Trek skit. Oh, like, yeah. We were all like imitating like Jim Carrey's, you know.
I was watching Ricochet with Denzel Washington and Kevin Pollak, and there's absolutely no reason for him to have this Shatner impersonation in the movie, but he shoehorns it in out of nowhere. I'm like, hell yeah.
Yeah, that's what he was known for.
Him writing those trivia questions.
Yeah, I or at least that one. He's like, oh, could you slip this one?
Well, he wrote another one. It says, trivia. Did you know that Leonard Nimoy was audited by the IRS during the filming of Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan? True or false?
But yeah, it was like a really fun evening. I was really glad to see Shatner breathe the same air. And again, you know, we say these things about him lovingly, like when like he feels like a member of the family. And I mean, I have members of the family that like kind of I have the same feelings about as like. It's like, you know, they're a piece of work, but I love them.
Yeah, he was shuttled in like a tin-window limo. He's like, you've been a great crowd, Cleveland.
You sicken me. Like, that was the thing. Like, he didn't have any of his great quote. Like, I thought, because again, I don't think he's aware of, like, he didn't say sabotage. He didn't say you sicken me. He didn't say spa. You know,
what you mean?
He didn't say con. That part of the movie when he says con, that got a big cheer. That was
dressed in his T.J. Hooker costume.
Yeah, he did mention T.J. Hooker, and yeah, he has had a long enough career, and yeah, we love all those incarnations. I'm Tom Scioli, author of Godzilla's Monsterpiece Theater, a new comic from IDW. So keep an eye out for that.
I'm Matt Zeoli.
Here's some trivia. Matt, can you imagine a guy strutting around with a tribble on his head, having a trivia question about somebody wearing a fake chest? It's not like Ricardo Montalban's chest looks that great. Like, it's not like he's not like jacked out of his mind or something. Yeah.
Unfortunately, I would kill for his chest.
Oh, for sure, yeah.